Welcome to WikiPodcast. Today we're doing a deep dive into, well, an absolutely extraordinary life story. It's part of our History Maker series, focusing on social reformers and activists. We're talking about Malala Yousafzai.
An incredible figure, really shapes so much recent history around education rights.
Exactly. And our mission here is to unpack that journey. Not just the headlines, but the why and the how. How did this young girl's, unwavering commitment to education end up resonating so powerfully across the globe?
It's especially given the immense challenges she faced. It's about understanding those pivotal moments, that quiet strength she had.
And some surprising turns, too, right? How her voice just made louder, paradoxically, because someone tried to silence it. I want to get into what drove her and how her story continues to inspire.
It's a story where, individual courage really sparked something much, much bigger, a global movement in many ways.
Okay, so let's start at the beginning. Malala Yousafzai, born July 12, 1997, in Mingora, Swat District, Pakistan.
And her background, it's important context. Lower middle class family, Sunni Muslim Pashtun.
Right, and you mentioned humble beginnings. She was actually born at home. Neighbors helped out because they couldn't afford a hospital birth.
Yeah, that really sets the scene. And her name, Malala, meaning grief-stricken, it's after Malala Yousafzai, a famous Afghan folk heroine known for her courage.
Yeah?
Sort of prophetic, maybe?
Maybe so. She grew up with two younger brothers, her parents, and apparently two chickens.
Yes, but the key figure, really, in her early life was her father, Swat Yousafzai.
Okay, let's unpack this, because it seems crucial. He wasn't just a parent, was he?
No, not at all. He was a poet, he owned the Kushal Public School, and he was an education activist himself, passionate about it.
And this is where it gets really interesting and quite unusual for the culture at the time, right? He actively encouraged her voice.
Absolutely. He'd let her stay up late, talk politics with him while her brothers were sent off to bed.
That's huge. Giving a young girl that space, that validation, it must have been foundational.
It really was. It laid the groundwork for what came next, which, well, it happened quite young. Late 2008, she's only 11.
And the BBC Urdu website is looking for someone.
Yeah, they wanted a schoolgirl to blog, but anonymously, about life under the Taliban's growing influence in Swat. I mean, the militants were banning everything, TV, music, and crucially, girls going to school.
So Malala steps up. But how'd that work logistically? She's 11.
Well, she used a pseudonym, Gul Makar, from a Pashtun folktale, and she'd handwrite these notes, basically diary entries.
Okay.
Then she'd pass them to a reporter who would scan them, email them off to the BBC. It was quite a system.
Wow. Her first entry, January 3rd, 2009. What'd you write about?
It described a terrible dream she had. Helicopters, the Taliban, just sheer fear about going to school. She noted only 11 out of 27 students showed up that day because of the Taliban's edict.
Chilling. And by that point, the Taliban had already destroyed scores of girls' schools.
Over 100, yeah. It was systematic. And what's fascinating here is that her blog wasn't just a personal diary,
Right. It was more than that.
It was this incredibly rare window for the outside world into what life was actually like under that oppression. And doing it was, well, incredibly dangerous.
You can only imagine. And things got worse on the ground.
Oh, definitely. Her later entries talk about her school being shut down completely on January 15th. She wrote about hearing artillery fire constantly.
Streets deserted.
Yeah, Mingora becoming a ghost town. Even their family home got robbed at one point. Just chaos and fear.
Was there any let-up? I read something about a temporary lift on the ban.
There was, for primary education for girls, but not for girls-only schools. But even then, attendance just plummeted. People were too scared.
But Malala, she didn't stop speaking out, did she?
No, quite the opposite. In February 2009, she actually appeared on television on a show called Capital Talk, openly criticizing the Taliban.
That's incredibly brave for anyone, let alone a young girl in that situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Her blog finished around March 2009, but her defiance, her activism, was only just beginning.
Then came the military operation, Operation Raw Arrest, in May 2009.
Right. The Pakistani army moved against the Taliban, which obviously led to fighting and displacement. Malala's family had to flee. They got separated for a time.
And she famously said she was really bored without books during that time.
It just shows where her heart was, doesn't it? Even amidst all that chaos. And it got more dangerous personally, too. Her father got a death threat over the radio for speaking out.
That must have been terrifying. But it seems like this period also solidified something for her, a shift in her ambition.
Yes, exactly. There's footage from a documentary where she says, "I have a new dream. I must be a politician to save this country." She wanted to fix the crises.
So she moved from wanting to be a doctor to wanting to be a politician.
Precisely. And when they returned home in July 2009, she immediately started advocating again. She pleaded with Richard Holbrooke, Obama's special representative, for help with education.
Her profile just kept rising after that, didn't it?
Yeah, more media appearances, national, international, like the Toronto Star. By December 2009, people knew she was Gul Mackay, the BBC blogger.
And then came the awards, the recognition.
Desmond Tutu nominated her for the International Children's Peace Prize in October 2011, first Pakistani girl ever nominated.
Amazing.
Then, in December 2011, she won Pakistan's first National Youth Peace Prize. Got it from the Prime Minister himself.
And even then, she was talking about forming her own political party for education.
She was. You could see the influences. Martin Luther King Jr., Mandela, Jinnah, Benazir Bhutto. She was drawing from these powerful figures.
But this visibility, this bravery, it came at a terrible cost. The threats became more serious.
It did. Death threats in newspapers slipped under their door. Even on Facebook, it was escalating.
And the Taliban leadership, they actually met and decided to kill her.
In the summer of 2012, yes, they made a unanimous decision. The danger was very, very real.
Yet her own words from that time are just staggering. Even if they come to kill me, I will tell them what they are trying to do is wrong, that education is our basic right.
Incredible resolve, just pure courage.
And then, October 9th, 2012, the day everything changed.
The attack. She was on the school bus heading home after an exam.
A masked gunman stopped the bus.
Shouted, "Which one of you is Malala? Speak up, otherwise I will shoot you all." Identified her and shot her.
Just one bullet, but the damage, it traveled 18 inches.
Yeah, from the side of her left eye, through her neck, lodged in her shoulder. 2 other girls were also hit, wounded, but thankfully not as critically. The intent was clearly assassination.
It's just horrific to contemplate. The immediate aftermath must have been frantic.
Absolutely. She was airlifted first to Peshawar, then Rawalpindi, military hospitals, critical condition. They removed the bullet, dealt with brain swelling.
And then the decision was made to move her to the UK.
Right. To Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham. It specializes in treating military personnel injured in conflict, which tells you how severe her injuries were.
Her recovery journey must have been incredibly long and difficult.
It really was. She was out of the coma by October 17th, which was a huge relief. Doctors were cautiously optimistic about avoiding major brain damage.
But there were multiple surgeries.
Oh, yes. Reconstructive work, repairing the facial nerve, which was badly damaged, skull reconstruction. She even needed a cochlear implant later on.
But she made remarkable progress.
Astonishingly so. By July 2014, they said her facial nerve had recovered something like 96%. Just incredible resilience.
And the global reaction to the attack itself, it was immediate, wasn't it?
Overwhelming. Sympathy, anger, outrage poured in from everywhere. Protests in Pakistan.
And that petition, the right to education one.
Over 2 million signatures. It actually spurred Pakistan to ratify its first right to education bill. Real impact.
World leaders spoke out strongly. Obama, Hillary Clinton.
Yeah. Obama called it reprehensible, disgusting, and tragic. Clinton praised her bravery. It went beyond politics, too. Madonna dedicated a song, Angelina Jolie wrote an article, donated $200,000 to what became the Malala Fund. Laura Bush compared her to Anne Frank.
So if we connect this to the bigger picture, the attempt to silence her completely backfired.
Massively. It amplified her voice like nothing else could have. It made her, as one outlet put it, the most famous teenager in the world. Suddenly, everyone knew her story.
Despite all this global condemnation, the Taliban doubled down, didn't they?
Their spokesman, Ahsanullah Ehsan, claimed responsibility, called her a symbol of the infidels and obscenity, vowed they'd try again if she survived.
Their justification was basically that she was anti-Islam.
Yeah, that she was brainwashed, propagating against them. But, and this is crucial.
This raises an important point, right? Was that view widely shared within Islam?
Not at all. A group of 50 leading Muslim clerics in Pakistan immediately issued a fatwa against the attackers. They publicly denounced the Taliban's religious justifications.
So a clear counter-narrative from within the faith itself.
Absolutely. It showed the diversity of thought and condemned the violence unequivocally.
Meanwhile, Gordon Brown launched that UN petition, I Am Malala.
Yes. Pushing for universal education by 2015, fighting discrimination against girls, focusing on the millions out of school, it kept the pressure on globally.
But what about justice for the attackers themselves? That seems complicated.
Very. Initially, 10 men were sentenced to life in prison. But later, in a secret trial, 8 of them were acquitted. Lack of evidence was cited.
So most walked free.
Seems so. And the suspected mastermind is believed to have escaped to Afghanistan. So, full accountability. It remains elusive. Frustratingly so.
After recovery, Malala didn't just retreat, did she? She threw herself back into education and activism.
Completely. Finished secondary school in Birmingham, got top grades, then went to Oxford, Lady Margaret Hall.
Studying PPE philosophy, politics, and economics. Seems fitting.
Absolutely. Graduated with honors in 2020. And alongside her studies, she co-founded the Malala Fund, the nonprofit.
And here's where it gets really interesting, watching her own views evolve publicly. She started identifying as a feminist.
Yeah, she credits Emma Watson's UN speech for that shift. It resonated with her.
And her thoughts on marriage changed too, didn't they?
She used to be quite skeptical, wondering why people needed to marry, partly due to concerns about forced marriage. But then she met and married Asser Malik in 2021. She spoke about finding someone who shared her values, understood her life.
She's also been outspoken about women's autonomy, telling people not to focus on wardrobe choices.
Exactly. Come and talk to us about individual freedom and autonomy. Do not come with your wardrobe notes. A very powerful statement.
And her platform just kept growing.
Yeah.
Dressing the UN on her 16th birthday, Malala Day.
An incredible moment, wearing one of Benazir Bhutto's shawls. And that speech, weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage was born. Just electrifying.
She didn't shy away from challenging world leaders either, meeting the Queen, meeting Obama.
And she confronted Obama directly about drone strikes in Pakistan. Said she was concerned they fueled terrorism? That takes guts.
Definitely. And using her birthdays for activism, opening a school for Syrian refugees in Lebanon on her 18th.
Urging leaders to invest in books, not bullets. She's consistently used her platform to highlight crises, the Rohingya persecution in Myanmar, the situation for women in Afghanistan after the Taliban takeover in 2021.
Condemning the ban on older girls' education there.
Vehemently, and she wasn't afraid to criticize the Trump administration either, on various issues, from harassment to immigration to education cuts.
So globally celebrated. But this raises an important question. How was she viewed back home in Pakistan? It wasn't all positive, was it?
No, it's much more complex. She faced and still faces a lot of criticism and conspiracy theories there. Some see her as an agent of the West.
Why? Because of the Nobel Prize, Oxford, living in the UK?
Partly, yes. Accusations that her ideology is anti-Pakistan, even horrific claims that the assassination attempt was staged. It's deeply divisive for some.
To the point where her own autobiography was banned by some schools.
Yeah, the All Pakistan Private Schools Federation banned I Am Malala. They even published a counterbook called I Am Not Malala.
Wow. Despite all that, her return visit in 2018 must have been incredibly emotional.
Hugely. Her first time back since the shooting, fulfilling that dream of returning without fear. She went to Mingora, her hometown.
And declared she was proud of her religion and country.
She did, trying to bridge that gap, perhaps. More recently, she's faced some criticism, again, initially over perceived silence on the Gaza-Israel conflict, before she made strong calls for a ceasefire. It shows how scrutinized she is.
Her impact extends beyond activism, too, into culture, the books, the documentary.
I Am Malala was a huge bestseller. The documentary, He Named Me Malala, got shortlisted for an Oscar. She wrote children's books, Malala's Magic Pencil, and We Are Displaced, about refugee stories, with profits going to her fund.
And that Apple TV Plus deal.
Yeah, a multi-year partnership signed in 2021, producing dramas, comedies, documentaries, kids' shows, expanding her reach through different media.
It's amazing how she pops up in popular culture, too. Zoolander, too. Booksmart.
Right. In Booksmart, they use Malala as a code word for defiance. Apparently, she thought it was funny. And there's even a Spider UK character named Malala Windsor in the Spider-Verse movie.
And she acted recently in a sitcom.
Made her debut in We Are Lady Parts in May 2024, just showing another side of herself.
We can't finish without mentioning the awards, of course. The sheer volume is incredible.
Absolutely. The Sakharov Prize in 2013, countless honorary degrees. But the pinnacle, of course.
The Nobel Peace Prize in 2014.
Making her the youngest ever Nobel laureate, just 17 years old. A truly historic moment, recognizing her fight for the right of all children to education.
It's just an incredible arc, from that determined schoolgirl blogger in Swat Valley, defying impossible odds, to this global symbol for human rights, for education.
It really hammers home the power of one voice, doesn't it? How courage can spark change, even in the face of brutal violence.
Absolutely. It leaves you thinking. As Malala continues her work, continues advocating for education and equality worldwide, how do you think her experiences, her journey, might shape the future of global activism for the next generation. Thanks for listening. Write us your opinion on what you just heard in the comments. Subscribe to the channel to help more listeners reach our episodes. Thank you, and have an amazing day.